Vlogcasts may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal big footy rules still apply. Alright, so this is the vlogcast for the grand final. The Tear-Soaked Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by Mr. Moral Victory. He's nursing a sore head from last night's broadcast, Cooksen.
Hello.
The number one fan of Richmond's seventh best player, Sean Grigg, Richoatthedisco.
Hello.
Our favourite Kool-Aid chugger, Haduken.
New grand title, Bosk out, Subaru in, you're a cunt.
That's going to become a thing, I think.
Yep. Cunt of the week by Haduken.
From the Elizabeth Street 7-Eleven, we have our North supporter, Dan.
We have too many Richmond posters on here tonight. One of you has to go.
They can balance out the Hawthorn people.
Yeah, and on that note, he's going to be a bit disappointed, but the number one fan of Hawthorn's Power Ranger, Guernsey Penal, they're not playing in it, but he's here.
The Power Ranger thing is so passé. I'm now the number one fan of Matt Stevic.
And finally, the loudest member of the West Coast Boo crowd. His team's into the grand final. We have Bender.
Hello? Boo. Thank you.
Elephant in the room. Teach isn't here. We're not sure why.
Still missing.
Hopefully the boat's hasn't sunk. And
Jesus, I hope the
great
Border
slate.
Force hasn't got him.
Yeah.
It's global warming. The sea levels have risen. East Geelong's now underwater.
East Geelong's always been underwater. We'll start with Goo or Tears. Who wants to go first?
I've got some goo. Nat Fife playing 3/4 on a broken leg. Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
Yeah, good one.
That's ridiculous.
I'm a fair effort.
Can we use the word brave and actually be serious about it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's the number one word that comes to mind. He was just about best on ground too for a large chunk of that. He faded, but for at least half of that game, he was the most influential player out there, which says a lot about Fremantle.
Huge respect for him.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my goo.
My goo is that once this inconsequential game's over on the weekend, we can get to the real business of trade week.
It sounds like a Melbourne or a Carlton supporter.
Richmond supporters, we are
Or a
off-season
Hey, I
fans.
didn't say draft. Well, you know.
It's when they make the
No
most
moments.
noise during the off-season.
I'm a little bit offended that you're cheapening the grand final sprint by saying it's inconsequential. It's a fairly important part of the year.
Especially to Geelong these days.
It's no merit gift.
That's the only way Geelong know which players to target, who does well on the grand final sprint.
I've got Tears. Following on from what was said about Trade Week, the Tears is during Trade Week where every single person on Big Footy will somehow turn into an expert on trading, expert of what goes on in their clubs, and in essence, they're all turned into cunts.
How is that any different to any other time of the year?
There's just a lot more of them, and they actually are fucking stupid.
This is when all the team board people start venturing outside the safe burrow, effectively, is it?
Yep, they get out of the echo chamber.
Who else wants to go? We've briefly lost Richo, but we'll probably get him back.
I've got a bit of goo.
I didn't really mean for there to be, only one. You can come back. I was just joking.
Yeah, so you got Goo Bender?
Oh, yeah, dude. My goo's for my man Pritis, who backed it up at the Brownlow with a 28 points. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that I've always supported him. And I've never taken part in the Pritis bashing thread on the Eagles board. And don't bother looking in there because there's no posts from me.
You deleted them all?
Well, no, the thread's locked, so don't bother looking in there because you couldn't even quote him if you wanted to. So not that there's anything in there.
He's not Bayer deleting posts after the fact. Who else hasn't gone?
I'll spread some goo for two of our more underrated players, and they are big blokes who are playing at opposite ends of the ground. Jimmy Frawley, he was lampooned 2 weeks ago for a less than ideal performance, but he's played really well now 2 weeks in a row, and so has Ryan Schoenmakers, and I hope
New clangers.
He
Showy
officially
gets
went off
the
that wagon like a long
grand
time.
final. I hope he gets the grand final and the premiership medal he deserves.
I
It would
will
be
give
a
you
fitting ornament on his career.
I'll give you this, Penal. Schoenmakers played a decent game last week. That's about as far as I can go.
He will still probably get dropped.
Yeah.
Who else wants to go?
I think I'm the only one left. Like, just a little bit ago, I thought Nat Fife was a very, very worthy winner of the Brownlow medal, much more worthy than Matt Prittis. Who, how many votes did he get?
28.
28. Jesus.
Only lost by 3, you know.
And that's a really good number too. I mean, he could have won
Matt
it.
Prittis, Brownlow haters. That's you.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I'm not denying that. He doesn't deserve to be a Brownlow medalist. He just won this. It's rational hate. I think he's a great player. Every team needs its contested sort of stat merchants, but he's not Brownlow medal material. Come on. It's the most prestigious award in the competition.
They've given it to Woden.
Can you imagine Andrew Swallow being a Brownlow medalist?
Oh, no.
What's the
No,
same
but
sort
not-
of player?
Give him
I can barely imagine him being an AFL footballer, let alone a Brownlow medalist.
Can you imagine him being an AFL club captain? I can't.
You're being silly now. You're being
Yeah,
silly.
he's not an AFL club captain. Come on. Trent Cotchin's a better leader than him.
Isn't Zeeble your captain or something? You know, the way
Yeah,
he'll...
Zeebel's the leadership man. He's the one.
Well, him or Cunnington, they're the only ones I can think of.
Yeah.
No, Nick Del Santo gives some
No, Boomer's still captain, isn't he?
In Boomer's mind, maybe.
I'll go last. I've got tiers for the... Look, I did and I didn't want Freo to make the grand final. I did because, sorry, Penal, but fuck off, Hawthorn. But I didn't because Ross Lyon, I want to see him lose another one. So I have tiers for the 3 yeses that cost Fremantle. Shit kicking and missing sitters, Sheridan and Stevic, because those 3 things combined conspired to boot Freo out of the finals.
My boy, the Stevenator.
It was awful, and the fact that he is going to do this, it shows you how bad the umpiring was on Saturday night, that the 3 who did Friday night got the grand final.
Yeah, sorry, Bender. Stevic is in, Margetts is out. You may as well, not bother watching on Saturday. It's been decided.
Are you going to trade your Power Rangers jumper in for a fluoro yellow jumper, top with Stevic's number on the back?
Yeah, like that kid at the Geelong game a few weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly like that.
I'll have to think about it. Depends how he goes on Saturday. If he does really well for us, I'll get him to sign a jumper.
I got to be honest, the grand final appointments of the umpires is highly amusing, considering of all the other umpires to make emergency, they made it the biggest attention whore of all.
Razor Ray.
Razor will find ways to get onto the ground on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, big time. He's going to be all over it. He's going to be all over it.
He will kickstart a brawl between 2 teams so he can walk in.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, punch on.
He'll say something to someone near the bench under his breath and they'll think it came from someone else. They'll start fighting and in comes Razor blowing his whistle.
There's a reason why he hasn't umpired a grand final in 4 or 5 years.
But no, those 3 things. Tommy Sheridan, as someone said, shitting yourself but that thread was not bad from Geelong Dynasty as being Sheridan yourself now. And yeah, they missed a few easy ones, but yeah, Stevic really should not be doing Hawthorn prelims 2 years in a row.
To be fair, anyone would shit themselves if they were under a high ball with Rioli coming at him.
Yes.
Not Bruce. He would blow his load for the body contacts that he's anticipating.
Even the wording of that, if he's under the high ball with the Rioli coming at him, I don't think that's Bruce's fantasy, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it all depends on your perspective, really.
You'd just love to have Rioli come at you, wouldn't you?
That's special.
Let's go to the reviews, and we'll begin with the Friday night game. We'll stay on that. Hawthorn against Freo, and look, there were a few things out of this game, during the game and afterwards.
In the end, it was actually kind of crap. Anytime the game kind of got going, the umpires killed it one way or another.
They did. They were real momentum stoppers.
Those 50-metre penalties were complete bullshit.
It was nice to see Ballantyne finally fucking reap what he sowed, though. I know that the kick against him that fucking turned the entire of the momentum Hawthorn's way in the first quarter was there was nothing in it, but it was just nice to see that little fuckwit get something against him, though.
Yeah, it was just bad timing for it to happen.
Yeah.
This is why you don't play like that, Hayden. You
Yeah,
bad
the
hobbit.
AFL has actually come out today and endorsed that decision and basically taken a swipe at Hayden and said, it's
You're a
your
little
fault. You
shit.
shouldn't have done that. So that decision has actually been endorsed as correct, which is probably a big reason why.
Oh, is
Stevic
Geeshan
made
in
it to
charge
the final.
again?
No, it's your boy Wayne Campbell.
I don't understand that. That's weak as
Yeah,
piss.
but
even if
whoever's
it's
the head
Ballantyne.
of the umpiring department doesn't actually have their own opinion. Come on, they're just a mouthpiece for the
That's true.
frickin' board.
And Stevic got the grand final, and so they're gonna do what they can to cover his ass.
Yeah, they take the piss.
But there was a few things out of that game, like the Freo fans didn't cover themselves in glory.
I was reasonably impressed the way the crowd then beat the shit out of that guy.
I would have liked to have seen Will get at him.
The one good thing Mark
Well,
has said this year is that if this was, 100 years ago, the mob Bob would have just beaten the crap out of that guy to death, and he wouldn't have got no fair
to be
trial.
fair, there wouldn't have been a woman at the football if it was 100 years ago. to be fair, but I mean, no, but seriously, yeah, he was not only him, but there's the other dipshits that pushed Bruce back over the fence or whatever they did. I think that was just unnecessary.
The guy who raised his hand to Isaac Smith as well.
Yeah, it's another fucking jockey.
And the bloke that whacked Bruce with the anchor, he was a bit of a anchor.
See, I think that was the worst one. Like, I don't see why he had to touch him. There's no need for it. Like, the guy that raised his arm, he looked like a knob, but he didn't actually do anything wrong more than just being a dickhead.
But that's like intimidating. Like, if you do that to the wrong player, like imagine. I don't think anyone would have ever done that to Barry Hall, but if someone did, they would be out cold before their hand actually stopped to show they were joking.
Well, I think he's probably chosen his target when he's picked like the skinniest guy on fucking Hawthorn's list, really. So.
Yeah, imagine if he'd chosen Suckling, he might have curled up in a ball, sucking his thumb fetal position. Suckling had a good game though, Penal.
He did, and it shows he's another player.
You were
who is
hoping
a
for
forward.
anyone to pick him up for next year.
Well,
Still
he's
want
just another player like Schoenmakers who should be played forward of centre and not anywhere near the back line.
Anyone, please take Suckling, please.
Trade
I haven't heard a lot about his goal on the siren as well, and his little dinky little corner off the mark, which I thought should have been play on.
Did you just say you haven't heard a lot about it? Check the fucking freeboard and the umpiring board. They're going off over that thing in particular.
The Freo board they're not happy.
I try to avoid the Freo board.
If Fife hadn't won the Brown though, I think it would be a very, very rough week for them.
Even during the Brownlow though, the early rounds, after that, I think was it the Derby game where Prudis got 2 votes or something like that? They were melting, expecting the Fife loss.
They weren't melting as much as the North board, who was sooking about Fife getting 3 votes in games he didn't even play in. Like, we did mention this last night, but we'll say it again for those who didn't join us. But yeah, the North board with their melts. I bet Fife gets 3 votes in the bye week. Like, didn't someone from the North board post about Goldstein not getting 3 votes one week, and it was a fucking bye?
Yeah.
There's been some fantastic melts from the losing prelim teams, and
This is the person who started appearing on the Bay, actually. Year of the Ruse. Keep an eye on that one. There's a little bit of special going on there.
he made a thread bit melty.
Yeah, about Goldstein
All the Brown
and versus Sandilands.
Well, he's the same poster, mate, that he didn't get votes in the week he didn't play. That's bullshit.
Oh, was that him who said that?
Oh, okay.
Outed. Yeah. Anything else on the Freo Hawthorn game?
At least we don't have to see Freo for another 6 months, so that's
Was
a
this-
fucking positive.
was this
Well, they
their
won't
best
get to
chance?
ruin another grand final.
Unless they make a massive play and somehow land Cam McCarthy. This is the window slamming shut.
I mean, when you finish on top of the ladder, but you win the first qualifying final, you get the week. They've had 2 weeks off. They did the North thing in the last round, so they should be fresh and ready to go. And yet,
Oh, Fife was just about shot, though.
he's one player though. I mean,
I know.
They blew.
Luke McFarlane's another one who's probably going to retire, so
He has.
so their defensive stocks are paper thin.
And
They're
Pavlich
relying on
almost certain to
Dawson.
and Silvani, and their upcoming recruit Josh Bootsma.
So they could finish out of the 8
it-
next year,
I think Ross Lyon's system will probably get hold of enough teams that they'll sneak in, but
where they'll only score 60 points a game.
yeah, like they'll find teams that they'll choke well enough. But the problem is going to be kicking goals. With like Pav at least draws a target. Like no one's going to pay Tabiner any respect. He was awful.
Yeah, they're just going to run off him like poor man's Jesse White.
I can't see Zach Clark holding down a solid.
No,
forward.
and Griffin looks like he actually, if they had 2 other good forwards, Griffin might be something.
Yeah,
for them.
and
Like,
Fremantle are actively shopping for a new ruckman. They're going after Leuenberger and Zach Smith and all that. I don't think Zach Clark's not going to be around.
Well, I mean, the one positive out of this game, if you're a Freo fan, other than Fife's bravery, I guess, was that Griffin played all right and showed that he can play a role in the team.
But that's the thing, play a role. It's not be the guy. They actually still need to find the guy to replace Pavlich, and probably someone better than.
Is Pav definitely done? Was that his last game?
He doesn't look like he can play again.
Pav can't do what Pav did this year again.
Let's face it, he's either going to retire or play like shit in 2016.
He'll be a passenger. Like if people thought, say, Goods or Stevie J were passengers this year, just wait till Pav plays next year.
The issue is Fremantle don't need someone to replace Pavlich of 2015 because they can have Pavlich 2016 do that job, but they need someone to replace Pavlich of 2012 who without
And that's why
without that
McCarthy's
sort
the
of
idea.
player, they
So-
just aren't going to be winning
So
score.
Ross is going to target Nick Rewalt, then, is he?
I reckon Armitage is going to target Nick Rewalt.
He did mention that he might throw Nat Fife forward if they can develop another midfielder, and Fife as a forward actually would work for them, but then it hurts their midfield. Like, that's the thing. This is what they did with Pav. They turned a midfielder into a full forward. It wasn't him, but it was Freo themselves made Pav a full forward. forward after he was he probably could have played more years in the midfield, but they had no forward, and now they're going to do the same with Fife.
Wasn't Pablo completely shit in the midfield?
He will,
No, he
I
was,
think
got
he
all
was
of,
pretty.
all Australian.
he won an All-Australian in the midfield and at full-back, I'm pretty sure, before he was shifted
he
forward.
was effectively what Goods was at his prime, maybe a little bit less, and then Goods, when he got older, went forward as Pav's done, but Pav went there at about 3 years earlier in his career than Goods did.
Because they had no one up there.
Yeah, exactly, and necessity, and if they do that with Fife, that's the wrong way to fix the problem.
When you're recruiting Kepler Bradley to be a forward, you have problems.
So maybe they can go after Talia and play him forward. Anything else on that game, or
No, Hawthorn one was shit.
pretty average spectacle? The game the next night, I think, was a better spectacle.
It was a more
That didn't
interesting
happen.
game, definitely.
Yes, it was a more interesting game. Like, it had more intrigue in it. North probably could have put it away, but
This
didn't.
game mirrored the North Richmond game from week 1, I reckon, where Richmond sort of shot out of the gate like North did, and they North wheeled in Richmond for the rest of the game as West Coast did.
West Coast really started to put you to the sword after quarter time, though, which was like, and West Coast's kicking in the second half, they could have buried North by 3/4 time.
Well, on the flip side, North should have been 5 goals up at quarter time, but they were so inaccurate and they kicked a lot of balls out on the full.
And the umpiring didn't help North.
Yeah, but that's only one small aspect.
I don't blame umpiring for results,
Yeah,
but
neither
certainly
do I.
it was one of the reasons North couldn't.
They certainly turned the momentum, particularly in that second quarter.
The third quarter kicking for goal, some of it was abysmal from both sides.
Yeah,
though.
I think that's what it,
Someone could have won the game in the third quarter, but no one did.
between the two teams, it was 17 goals, 33, and then like 5 out on the full.
I think this game was still probably very average to look at. I mean, West Coast were good, but they weren't great, and North were just bog average this game.
North didn't really dominate in the ways they probably needed to. Like, Nat Nui kept Goldstein in check for the most part. Goldstein wasn't the dominant player that he needed to be for North to win, and certainly North's forwards didn't do the job potential. His first game, I think, where he didn't kick 3 goals in a finals, first final. So, the areas where they're expected to get the edge, they didn't, whereas Josh Kennedy had a really good game.
They had a massive chance to expose us on the height with Brown and Petrie and Waite, and they just didn't. I mean, Brown, I don't know how anybody dropped about 3 or 4 marks in the 50.
Yeah, he had an absolute shocker.
He copped some shit on the North board about his trampoline hands.
Because he turned about 3 or 4 certain goals into behinds or West Coast goals because he missed like a 5-meter handball. He had Swallow or someone running into an open goal.
No, it was Higgins. It was someone faster than Swallow.
And all Ben Brown has got to do is like hit a handball 5 meters, and he misses him by about that distance as well.
But West Coast defensive pressure with that and the other one where I think Petrie gets tackled, to run back was pretty good. Like, they held up defensively, they just weren't. There was a patch there where they couldn't score.
Well, if North aren't going to mark it in the air, which they weren't able to, then West Coast defenders were always going to kill them on the ground and run off them.
And Boomer was, he bobbed up, but he wasn't really that damaging. Lindsay Thomas was the sub, and he fucked up when he came on the ground. That's two. Okay, Dan, what's Lindsay Thomas's future at North? Is there one?
Do you think it's in doubt, do you?
Well, he's been made the sub twice. He came on against Richmond, gave away the 50 metres.
A bung sort of foot for like the second half of the year.
He's probably out of favour.
No, but he was a handy sub. The first 2 finals he played, he had an impact as a sub, and
he also did the undisciplined thing. So he gave away the 50 that cost you a goal against us, and he was pretty undisciplined against West Coast too.
But he's just as likely to do that if he used to play a full game. You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, but Robin Nahas was getting ahead of him.
Kanye Turner's ahead of him now, I think.
Yeah, Kanye.
Yeah, but he didn't knock anybody out.
No, kicked the goal though.
That's all he can do though, apparently.
It was disappointing not to see North go the knuckle in the last quarter when they thought the game was kind of slipping away.
Well, yeah, where was Waite?
Where was Kanye?
Yeah, Kanye didn't get subbed. Surely it was because of his physical presence.
It was Jack Zeeble.
Yeah, Boomer got 6 weeks last time we played him in a final as well. I was kind of hoping he would crack out some pearls.
No, his eye is firmly on the record.
Yeah, true.
Dan, you have to answer me this. Why does Brad Scott keep subbing Taylor Garner off? Because I've watched him play, and he's like your one decent young player. He knows how to play football, and you've got players like Ben Brown and stuff who are spudding it up.
Petrie had to be the sub.
We're all geniuses in hindsight. There were games in which he should have subbed off Brown or another taller player.
But this wasn't hindsight. This was blatantly obvious to anyone watching the game, at least this game.
I want to know why Garner has only played like 13 games though.
He's been ravaged with injuries.
On the Leon Davis medal, I was actually thinking if North had won, I would have thought Petrie would have been a shoe-in for it.
Oh, not
He would have been
Bruma.
he would have been a popular pick.
Because he was probably the worst player on the ground in North West Coast.
Thinking of it now as well, I probably could have had a tears for Brad Scott actually acting like a grown-up in the post-game presser, because I thought it was the perfect storm for him.
Yeah.
First of all, costing the final with the shitty umpiring, and he was actually really good about it.
He's one of the few coaches that never melts over umpiring. He'll melt over other stuff, but the umpiring, he seems to be pretty...
Because he's used to it by now.
Yeah, probably. I mean...
It's because his cousin is Sue's the umpire.
He knows to
It's like,
respect the
I've got
umpires.
to get on a flight and come home and give her coaching tips now. So, yeah, I'm in a great mood.
At least he gets to pee on her in the shower, man.
No, I did notice a thread on the West Coast board after the game and after that press conference saying it's time to retire Brad Scott week and the Brad Scott avatars, because he's obviously shown that he's changed and it's no fun anymore.
I hope that doesn't happen, because Brad Scott Week, regardless of who it is very fun.
It's actually it's more club boards should do this initiative with the avatars, but it seems to be only the West Coast one that do it.
You need a genuine thing going on. Like, you need a genuine rivalry or some sort of history thing going on.
The Hawthorn board all put like mission accomplished George Bush avatars on. I think after that Geelong game last year, that was probably the most similar thing I can pick up.
So it's a Scott brother thing.
Yeah, because they're easy to troll.
There's certainly scope for it if you've got a good reason, but you need the reason for it, and not everything does. But I thought Kennedy's game was really good. Didn't hit the scoreboard as much as it seemed, but up the ground he did a lot of work, considering Darling was pretty meh.
Yeah, he did. He lifted us up a bit, and he wasted a few opportunities. Both him and Lacroix probably could have kicked another 5 between them, and they some shocking kicking from in front of goal.
I don't know if it was your second or first goal, but that
First
one
goal
was
went
running back with a flight, and then the North defender goes over, and Kennedy just stands up and runs in and kicks the goal. That was
that was the
awesome,
first,
and that turned the game.
Because it was 3-0 that stage, and he put them on the board like that. Like, it's funny to say in the first quarter, but that was like, if I hadn't had tears for Stevic, my goo would have been for that moment from Kennedy, because that was big time. But is there anything else we want to say on that game? It was disappointing on both the finals that the umpiring standard was not good in either of them, because it did hurt the game, and Razor Ray in particular tried to impose himself the way only he knows how.
I mean,
By
it
being
can't
a
be that
cunt.
hard. It can't be that hard to find umpires who aren't egotistical cunts who have probably bullied the shit out of his kids.
I wouldn't say they're egotistical as such, because Stevic's just a Hawthorn supporter, that's all.
It's because the number 1 and number 2 criteria for who gets an umpiring gig is what's your endurance running like? Can you run 16 Ks and are you quick enough and all that shit?
Can you
number
bounce
2,
a ball?
can you bounce a ball?
That's a fair point, that they have to be elite endurance athletes to do it. Like, if they were that good endurance athletes, there's a fair chance an AFL club probably would have looked at them, because they try and turn any athlete into, like, Blitzards into a footballer.
Yeah, we would have picked him up and made him into a ruckman if that was the case.
Exactly. If they were tall, or they could jump, and that's part of the thing. And it forces experienced umpires out the door, because they can't run the tan in less than 10 minutes or whatever the criteria is. So maybe that's the best case for 4 umpires, is less running and less focus on running, less focus on bouncing. You only need one guy to bounce, centre bounce.
What if we just had no umpires and we just did it on a
No.
player's gut feel?
It's simple.
It's the crowd decides.
An honest
For what it is now.
honest system with Boomer Harvey involved. That would be interesting.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to think of players who never ever infringe against anyone.
Jack Billings, no free kicks.
No, like players who just argue every single decision. Like, I'm trying to think who
Josh
does.
Gibson is the big one for that.
Brendan
Yes.
Goddard.
Every Travis Clark.
Yeah, Stevie J, like, divers would go to ground, they'd fall over, and they'd, like Stevie J style, they'd fall over, then just stand up quickly and stick their arm up, like, give us the ball. Just that kind of thing.
No, I
Yeah,
think
let's do it. The AFL should trial it.
No umpires?
I think umpires can be solved easily. We just get the umpires on segways.
That'd make it easier for fucking Ray to bowl people over.
Yeah, getting around on segways, yeah. Just wait till one of them can't drive the segway properly. Like, now we got umpires who can't make decisions. What if we get one who can't actually drive a segway, cannons into someone?
They give him to Luke Hodge. He'll teach him how to be good blokes and drive.
Hodges criteria. Now, you got to drink 3 beers before you start.
Can you imagine Razor Ray drunk? Jesus. Jesus Christ. On a Segway. That's just kind of a...
You'd be whistle, 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 whistle.
He'd be Favola at the Brownlow material. I'm sure of it. It'd be like on his Segway going, free kick.
See, why don't we have jobs in AFL? I mean, we just produce all these good ideas.
We are just a fucking think tank.
We would be hunted down and killed.
But nothing else on that game?
Norfolk
It turned out pretty much exactly the way you would have expected.
I wouldn't say not quite how it was
Well,
expected. but
North's fast start surprised me.
that was surprising. Like, I thought if...
Yeah, but the Eagles were always going to run them down, I thought. I remember...
If it
looking
wasn't
at
this
scoring.
week, it would have been next week that North were going to fall, and they just have to make it simple for next year. They have to win 16 to 17 games and do finals the easier way.
Yeah, I heard that Sweet Leftfoot said the Gold Coast game cost you top 4 and the premiership.
Well, he's an idiot.
But we will go to the Brownlow. I think we got Richo back, do we?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that.
You didn't have to leave,
Oh, good.
man. I was just joking about the Richmond thing earlier.
Skype apparently was improving my user experience by shutting down for 20 minutes.
We've just finished the reviews. We're just about to move on to Brownlow, but did you have anything to add on either game?
Stevic's a cunt. No.
That was well covered, I think. Yeah. This countriness of Stevic.
Stevic's a good bloke.
Oh.
He was actually on the couch tonight. I watched him interviewed on the couch.
Stevic?
Yeah, he's pretty pleased with himself.
Oh, wow. That's something to watch because there's probably some material in
I
there.
was going to say that's level 1 trolling there.
Yeah, let's go to the Brownlow. And we were on last night. We did cover it, and Fife got there. Pritis, he didn't take the first step to immortality, but there's still 2 more he can. But Fife, I think we'll defer to Richo because you had some pretty good words on it last night.
Well, he's the best player in the league. He had the best individual season, probably since Gary Ablett's last Brownlow, which is not that long ago, I guess. But he was awesome. I wish he played for Richmond.
Well, he could have.
Do you reckon they'd swap Ben Griffiths for him now? They need a key forward.
They do need a key forward.
It's trade week time, so yes, but they would have to throw in a sweetener.
Yeah, maybe Lockie Weller or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Mate, we can all be Dodoro for the week.
Well, key position players have extra value. We know that.
Yes, exactly, and they need one.
They don't need another midfielder who can't kick. They've got plenty of those. So
Yeah. But yeah, anything else on the Brownlow that we liked, disliked?
I'm just going to say, Chad Wingard got 6 votes.
Yeah, that was not right.
Cyril Rioli got 7 votes.
No, I'm still going to say, key forwards as a whole, I mean, they get the
they get chipped.
Brett
Absolutely
Alio,
chipped.
8 votes.
He should have gone at least 20.
How many Jack Revolt get? 6 or something?
I don't know. He got 3 votes in the Swans game where he kicked 7, I think. Like, you have to kick more than 6 as a key forward to get 3 votes.
Unless you're Chris
Back
Payne.
You only need to kick 4.
Season.
Handicap rules again.
Goals, like 15 votes in that year in the Brownlow. He didn't even come close to winning it.
Who was this?
Buddy back in, was it
Oh.
08? He kicked 100.
Yeah, 08.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Buddy in his first year at the Swans, though, last year polled like 20, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He had a good.
He was second behind Prentice because Fife was suspended last
He
year.
got a surprisingly large number last year.
Yeah, but that's
Cost of
because-
Brownlow allowance, something.
Did you do a red carpet voting? I'll give 3 votes to Mrs. McVeigh.
Me and Teach were on Skype beforehand having conversations. We decided that Bartel's missus looked pretty good in a wonderful dress.
She was pregnant, wasn't she?
She's about to pop.
Yeah, but it's
Well,
Peach.
some blokes are into that.
Some blokes are into that.
Trade draft.
Let's see. Nick Nat's missus looked very nice.
Nah.
Dane Swan's looked like he came out
Scrubber.
of a BDSM club.
Well, yeah. Like, why was she wearing that when she had the tattoo that she has?
Yeah. Some of the other players.
Joel
wore-
Selwood just looked neat.
Oh, Josh Kennedy's missus is, she is a podium every time. Gorgeous.
Pendle's missus was also very good.
Or as always.
Overrated.
Overrated, did you say?
She's not my type, put it that way.
Rory Sloan was still batting above his average.
Yeah, we did discuss that too. She's the Ladbrokes girl.
Oh,
Belinda
no.
reverse
Shit,
though,
I
I
hate her. Just for
Yeah,
the
I
Ladbroke
much
ads.
prefer Jamie Rogers from TAB.
But anything else from the Brownlow that was interesting?
Goldstein was jibbed. I didn't think he was going to win, but I think he got harshly treated.
I'd like to give a
Fuck,
shout
we
out to
used to
Taylor
get
Hunt's
with-
I'm leading Brownlow after.
Oh, we can't forget the Brett Ebert
I
or
was
Brad
going to say,
Ebert.
yeah, Brad Ebert was nearly the hero for a while there.
Having the Brownlow predicted, that was just funny as fuck.
There's always some good lols. Mick Malloy's routine falling flat and the horrible timing of sticking that after the Phil Walsh tribute.
Woeful, yeah.
It was just so Channel 7, like, not even realising what they're doing.
Yeah, Penal 7 combined with the AFL, you got a clusterfuck of no idea.
And James Blunt,
Oh, they're on it.
he sung at the start.
Oh, right. See, I actually worked out the best way to watch the Brownlow last night is to go out, record it, come back and just fast forward through to the votes or the highlights of each round.
Ah.
Just get rid of all that shit.
Oh, but the highlights are the best part. That's where you see...
Yeah, well,
things-
you watch the highlights. You watch the highlights and the votes, and that's all you watch. And I fast forward and I caught up to the count at about round 17 or something.
But, like, I'm trying to think of anything else that happened.
Bruce's super awkward speech with Nat Fife.
Fife, yep.
Always super awkward with Bruce and Sandilands and down the throat.
Really? Did he caress it? Caress it down the throat?
He didn't caress it, but it was just...
He shoved it, rammed it down his throat.
It's just like Fife said it, and you could just tell it just had connotations to it. And when you say that to Bruce, he's probably just like, oh.
Yeah, I would have tugged at his collar, like, you know.
I haven't seen that interview, but I read that Fife touched Bruce on his arm, and Bruce said something like, "Oh, don't," something like that.
That is so Bruce.
Bruce is
Probably.
He's saving himself for
Like-
Cyril.
We didn't get much out of Basil Creepwatch either, unfortunately. But I'm sure he was doing it. It just wasn't on.
Oh,
Thank
Hamish
goodness for that.
acted like a wanker on the red carpet, but that's expected.
The other thing about the red carpet is I imagine Divi Blues was a bit disappointed that the rotisserie wasn't back either, because he's all about that. But yeah, Fife deserved to win. The count was, it was reasonably entertaining considering he jumped out to a lead, I guess. Goldstein robbed Dan of votes.
He had BOGs engaged when we won and lost and just didn't get any votes at all.
No votes in Tassie, but Pritis got 2, wasn't
And Wellingham, wasn't it? That
Wellingham.
was the one that really sent the
Wellingham.
Northport into overdrive. Wellingham 3 votes in that game.
it? There was some
Really?
fantastic meltdowns.
North
around there.
supporters should be asking themselves, how come 200-centimetre Ben Brown can't outmark Sharad Wellingham in a one-on-one? Like he failed to do it many times on Saturday night.
But yeah, can't think of too much else out of the Brownlow. Sandlin's pulled more than that, Nui.
It was a pretty conventional count, really. There was no Eddie meltdowns. There was no surprises.
I think Gil got through all right with the pronunciations.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got to say, Gil gets props for the way he reads the votes. Mostly, he gets through them quickly. He doesn't fuck around like Dimitri used to do.
Yeah, there were very few awkward pauses, and they're not overly long pauses. He actually, his timing's pretty good on his pauses, judging his pauses. But
It's a shame Nahas will never get another vote, but never mind.
Or Carmichael Hunt.
but it was interesting. It was more amusing to follow at the time, and that was quite fun. Just talking some shitters that went through, and Brad Ebert obviously polling well. And yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in and listened. We were peaking at roughly about 30 listeners for most of the night. We had debuts from EIMM and Jose. He didn't fuck off despite being told to
Boydlow was
numerous
on.
times, and yeah, he got melty over something or other.
I think it was Goldstein not getting votes.
No, Craig McKernan. That's right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was it.
Still not over that. But if there's nothing else on that, we'll go to the talking points, and we'll begin with the big news of the talking points last week was Dangerfield. He's declared his intentions.
Really?
Yeah.
He's going?
I think that happened. Like, you might have missed it.
He's going to Victoria, but he didn't say where. And he did it wearing a bright orange suit, which is hilarious because you see the headline and he's just sitting there, Dangerfield announces he's leaving. He's wearing orange. And you go, he's going to GWS? What? I'm sure he did it deliberately.
And in that speech, he basically confirmed that he is massively whipped and a giant pussy. Like, he's fucking letting his girlfriend or fiance or whatever they are, like, move him to Geelong because she wants to move to Geelong. Like, seriously, if you're in a relationship...
No, that can't
No.
be right. No one wants to move to Geelong.
No, if you're in a relationship with someone and they want to move to Geelong and they tell you, come move to Geelong, better break that one off quick smart.
That's a deal breaker.
Isn't he from the area?
He's from Morgs Creek,
Yeah.
which is down the coast and a lot nicer.
Isn't he going to move to Moggs Creek, or is he going to live in Geelong?
His missus is from literally Geelong, probably East Geelong. So
Is the
they
missus-
do want to move to the town Geelong.
Teacher's niece or something.
It's
Did he say,
Mrs.
I'm taking my talents to Eastern Beach?
Well, didn't also Dangerfield say that he doesn't want to be a free agent, he wants to be traded?
Did he say that? I thought he said he would exercise his rights to leave, and then the Crows.
Yeah, but he said he doesn't want to leave by a free agency, by trading.
That's interesting. And that's a really interesting situation because that's not the ace up his sleeve that's been discussed this week. If the Crows and Geelong can't come to a deal and he can't get there as a free agent, that he would nominate for the draft, and he's going to warn clubs that he will only play for 1 year of a contract, and then he'll do it again, try and get back to Geelong if they pick him. Like, which is a smart way of going about it. It's similar to Luke Ball.
He could have 8 clubs by the time his career's finished. Just get
Yeah.
drafted by whoever finishes bottom.
He could be a very rich nomad.
Maybe by then he fucking grows a brain and a set of balls.
But the thing about that is, apparently that's going to be through the national draft, so no one's actually going to spend pick 6 on Dangerfield in the national draft for 1 year of him.
Probably not.
That's why he probably reckons he could fall to Geelong, but then Geelong can't trade for Henderson. So
Yeah, Geelong need 3 supposed first round draft picks, which they don't have.
Dangerfield and Geelong's going to be very interesting.
Well, unless they start looking at next year. year's picks or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, I could trade Motlop to Richmond. We'd give our first pick for him.
Apparently, we're looking at Harley. Very keen on Harley.
I'll be happy with that.
Take
You can
Harley.
remember-
Yeah, have you heard this news about him over the weekend?
What news? Did he try and fight Robbo at the Brownlow again?
Well, I think there was a fight at a Mandurah Footy Club after a game on the weekend that he was in attendance at, and there's some smoke coming from it regarding him.
Well,
I
let's
haven't heard anything about that.
Was he smoking or?
No, smoke and fire.
It was like it's a massive biff.
I know what you meant.
And
He was down there, and
Apparently.
he went and told Hayden Ballantyne, you cost Freo the game with your behind the play bump, and Hayden,
Good on you, Harley.
and Hayden started, he looked up and he raised his fists, and Harley said, "I'll put you on your ass." Yeah.
I think that age-old saying, though, where there's smoke, there's fire, might need to be amended in Harley's case to where there's smoke, there's ice.
It's a crack pipe.
There's glass pipes everywhere. Yeah.
But as Richo said, he's looking forward to trade week, and I think the Dangerfield situation and everything Geelong do at trade week is going to be the most interesting part of that whole saga, because Geelong are generally quite shrewd, or they were before they traded for Reece Stanley. So it'll be interesting to see how they work this to get everyone that they clearly want.
I look forward to Fremantle sort of going after every big-name key forward, whether they're out of contract or not, and then ending up with, like, Sam Grimley or someone.
Anything more on Dangerfield that we want to say?
Is it all but certain that he'll only go to Geelong? Like, if another club comes up with a better deal.
Well, the fact that he still hasn't actually said Geelong makes it interesting.
If he's as whipped as Penal says, it's clearly got to be Geelong.
Well,
I mean,
I was all for
yeah.
Richmond buying a helicopter.
The only other club he could possibly get to from Geelong would be like maybe someone western
Dogs.
based. How far is it to Tulla? Not that long.
The ring road will take him there pretty quickly. But on the subject of trade week and wanting players, let's go to a player who his club didn't want him. Like, they were more interested in the compo pick they could have got until he failed all his fitness tests, Cruiser. And then now he's re-signed, and I feel bad for Cruiser after this saga that Carlton have put him through.
He didn't deserve that from Carlton, because they basically admitted we're more interested in what we can get out of you rather than your services as a player.
And right up until they realised that no one else was going to pay him enough to
They would have
activate.
gotten like a second rounder at best.
Yeah.
That organisation deserves no success at all. None.
And
Absolutely none.
Cruiser deserves better.
Yep.
He does. He seems like a quality bloke.
But he just can't get any luck with his body.
Yeah.
And he got beaten by Sean Hampson this year, so...
Oh,
We're trying to be a bit nice to him, and then you just throw that jab in.
Let's be positive. He did tear Max Gawn and Melbourne a new one late in the year.
Well, there you go. I rate Gawn too.
Yeah, you've got to feel sorry for him, and at least he's going to get paid well to be at Carlton.
They've got to pay like 95% of the cap somehow.
Yeah, he wanted to be there more than he wanted to be elsewhere, but Carlton pushed him to look elsewhere, and there's something really unsavoury about that, and it comes back to free agency compensation and what we said a couple of weeks ago, that it's clearly too high. If a player like Cruiser, Carlton actually would rather see a guy who doesn't want to be there look somewhere else because of what it's going to get them.
There shouldn't be any compo. They should just get rid of it.
Yeah,
Time.
I agree.
Compensation is you free up space
Well,
in your salary.
if the results of compensation give you Cruiser worth pick 2, Dangerfield worth pick 14, Franklin pick 19, then
Crawley
there
three.
shouldn't be anyone.
I think compensation should exist, but I think we've got to knock down the values.
Maybe clubs should just do a better job of looking after their players and make them not want to leave, you know?
It's just one of those things, if you the scenario where a club has an exodus of 4 or 5, and admittedly that's poor culture, but the fact is they probably should be in a situation to draft higher than the 6th round.
Compensation should never try to be representative of player value, because then you get those horribly skewed results like the 2 for Cruiser, 3 for Frawley versus the late first rounders for Dangerfield and Franklin.
but they wouldn't
if you-
really, though.
If you make it like a sympathy thing, like you guys lost a player, here we'll maybe give you pick
consolation
56
prize.
or something to make sure that you guys have 44 players on your list next year.
They should actually change it from compensation pick to consolation pick, because it's the consolation prize. You lost a player, but here is something to kind of
But
help you
that's-
with that little issue.
But the thing is with the combo, it's not tied in. It's tied in with value, but it's also tied in with ladder.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be tied to ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It should
it
just
punishes every
Well, that
team after
that
them.
makes
in
it
the draft.
an equalization system, aka priority picks 2.0, as we saw last year with Frawley.
As I said, it should be, if you lose, say, Franklin, you should get like at least pick 11.
No, fuck that.
Nothing. Get nothing.
Yeah, but the clubs wouldn't accept that. They'd say nothing.
The clubs will accept it if they give them the right to trade blokes against their will.
No one in the first round should be a disadvantage because someone couldn't hold on to one of their A graders.
Yeah. No, if they bring in that rule, that allowance for clubs to trade a guy, just say, hey, you're going to Fremantle. Sorry, no
Garbage
saying.
choice. choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's club's choice. Then it evens out.
Yeah, that
Give
that
them-
would change things.
Give unlimited free agency after 6 years, and give clubs the right to trade bloke where they want to.
Yeah, contracted blokes, obviously not uncontracted. But anything else on Cruiser or any other player movements? We've got Hartlett, we've got Seedsman, we've got Jetta.
Nathan Freeman wants out. Play wants to come to the culture of St Kilda.
Yeah, how much are you prepared to pay for him?
Considering we
Because-
have a shitload of cap space, it doesn't really matter.
No, trade-wise.
Well, if you ask the Collingwood board, they want Jack Billings, pick 5, Josh Bruce, peace in the Middle East, as well as a blowjob from like Paris Hilton.
Well, that's not worth anything.
And then in the
Say-
next post, they talk about how fucking shit Freeman is and how his hamstrings are made of glass. And it's
Oh,
like,
they've gone all
which
over
is
the
it?
I don't know. It's quite hard. I mean, they don't
If
know
you-
what they want.
If you really wanted to know the Collingwood supporter, you go to cell block H and just run a cup down the bars and go, Freeman shit or something. And they'll go just like yelling and carrying on.
It is kind of funny how they are. And
find it
every
nice.
club's doing this, demanding overs for players that aren't.
I saw some good posts. They're like saying, "Oh, you can't do that with St Kilda," or because they're acting like, "Oh, stupid." Like they got Luke Ball because they wanted to trade Tyson fucking Goldsack.
Yeah, and you probably should have taken that considering you got nothing.
Didn't they offer
Still,
you pick?
but then-
Didn't they offer you a pick?
And
Like 30 or
Wellingham,
something?
actually. They offered you Wellingham and 30 or something.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have won a 2010 flag with them.
Yeah.
with him and Cousins as well. You would have won it. But you
Or if you
pissed
had a
that one
drafted
away.
Jack Revolt.
Sometimes you just got to take what's on offer. And in Collingwood's case, if St Kilda offer them a second rounder, St Kilda's second rounder is going to be what, pick 24?
Yeah,
But if you're
26.
Adelaide and Geelong literally don't budge from pick 9, that's all they offer. They say, screw Henderson, we'll give pick 9 to Adelaide for Dangerfield, and they don't budge from that one. If you're Adelaide, you should not take it and make the stand.
What, losing for nothing?
Yeah.
No, but
send him
okay,
to the
but
draft.
if Dangerfield calls his bluff and goes into the draft, Geelong use pick 9 on him anyway, and the Crows get nothing.
No,
Rest-
but we might not get to Geelong. Geelong are confident they'll get to it.
Okay, do you really think a club's going to use a pick in the top 8 on Dangerfield, knowing that after 1 year he'll try and fuck off again?
If Essendon
I
gets
reckon-
4 and 5, yeah.
I reckon
They'll use
Melbourne
one of
will
them.
use 6 on him. There is no way that Dangerfield would get past Melbourne.
But that's a really bad move because if he tries it again, like Geelong are trajecting down. If they don't get Dangerfield, they're going to go further. So the year after that, they're going to have pick 4 maybe.
But,
Geelong
but
need
it's about your club's culture, and it's about making a stand. And so rather than letting yourself get bent over for pick 9, you may as well let him walk to Melbourne.
But Melbourne
if
won't
it-
draft him.
Oh,
Melbourne
they're
will
pretty
draft
keen
him.
on
Melbourne won't draft him. Melbourne can't afford to use a pick 10 on a guy who's only going to be there for 1 year. Melbourne can't do that. Any club who uses a top 8 pick on Dangerfield, this is where he's being smart about it. Any club who uses that on a player for just a single year, as good as he is, especially when none of those clubs are in the premiership window, it's going to look really fucking stupid when he walks.
But say if Melbourne draft him, what is Melbourne's draft pick? Pick 6?
Yeah.
They get a year's service out of him, and for some reason Geelong finishes bottom 4.
Yeah, he's at Geelong, exactly.
The next year, though, say that draft Dangerfield at pick 6, then trade him next year for pick 4. Would you consider that a good deal?
They wouldn't, because if he's at pick 4, he probably walks to Geelong by pick 4.
Mel's in next year if Geelong finish bottom 4.
Yeah, and if Geelong finish bottom 4, why would they trade with Melbourne when they know that if he goes into the draft again, he'll probably land at them at pick 4?
True.
Like, that's the thing. If Geelong are projecting downwards, and 2 clubs use top 12 draft picks on Dangerfield for nothing, the Crows first and then Melbourne.
As I said, there's
Yeah.
going to be a massive mega trade coming.
Yeah, shit's going to hit the fan somewhere. Someone's going to have to blink.
You guys
There'll
are all
be some
missing the wood
mediation.
for the trees here, which is that Dangerfield isn't going to Geelong at all.
Here we go. So you're back off the 29 ineffective disposals again.
No, I didn't say he was going to Hawthorn. I just said he's not going to Geelong. Watch this space. Haduken was on the money earlier.
Welcome to North Melbourne.
Essendon?
Yeah. No, seriously, Essendon.
No, Dogs.
The Dogs.
Ooh.
How are they going to get him?
Can you imagine the bathwater?
Oh,
A certain Talia brother told me that there would be a complicated trade involving Dangerfield and Michael Talia.
Was Jake Stringer involved?
I've said too much already.
On that note, let's go to Talia Gate. It continued, and the leak was about Jake Stringer, which I think makes it even worse. It wasn't even about Talia, and the Dogs won't talk to him. He's gone, as we said. He won't be there.
What was the
What
leak?
do you think he leaked? Yeah, like I imagine that.
Well,
You know,
yeah, I
when-
wonder what Stringer did differently, or was he sore maybe, and they decided to run off him? Like, what would that be?
Well, he did his hammy or something in the first quarter, so maybe he was carrying something into the game.
Whatever it is, it's fucking enraged them.
Yeah, so it must be related related to that injury? Because you could see Stringer clutching the hammy early in the first quarter, so he was cramping up or something, and so Talia must have led on that he was carrying something into the game.
Yeah, that must be it, which you can't do that.
Yeah, just give him instructions, just make him kick on the left every chance you get.
Yeah.
No.
Do we know how the information was spread? Though? I mean, if we could
Yeah, by phone call.
He spoke to him.
Oh, well, that goes my
Yeah, they spoke to each other as apparently they do.
Was it on a phone or texting?
On the phone, I think. They're saying that they call each other every week or something.
It could have been just like a casual thing where they accidentally do something, but...
I mean, like, footballers are dumb, right? So it could have been as simple as, like, doing a fucking Instagram or Snapchat post and it's like, just chilling with Jake Stringer and his dodgy hamstring and sent that to his brother or something.
Nothing else on that?
It's created some interesting dog.
I did notice that Michael Talia's manager, who has come out to defend him and saying Talia did nothing wrong, is fucking that grub Liam Pickering.
Yeah, and he's sooking that Beveridge has spoken more to the Hawthorn players about this than he has to Talia because he's not spoken to Talia at all. Well, why the fuck would he speak to Talia about this? It'll be interesting at trade time, though, when they have to trade him. Whether they go, he's worth a second rounder or whatever the fuck.
Just keep his mouth shut.
He's not.
Well, that's a case where you'd be happy to let the player walk and get nothing. I mean, I can't see anyone offering overs for him.
Brio, play centre forward for us, please. We don't care what you tell them. Ross's game plan, everyone knows
Sam
it.
Grimley
Boring.
turned us down. We need someone, anyone.
I don't even know who Sam Grimley is.
He's a ex-Hawthorn player, isn't he? Got delisted.
I don't think we've announced the delistings, but he will probably be delisted. He won the VFL goal kicking this year. Surely that's enough to get Freo interested, is it? Hopefully.
It worked for Jack Anthony. Anything else on the other play movement? Hartlett, Seedsman, Jetta, nothing.
I don't want Jetta in my club.
I don't think Hartlett will go.
No, I don't think he will.
Bad luck, Bender. You're getting Jetta.
I don't want his fucking imaginary spears near my club.
You're getting him.
If he leaves him in Sydney, it's fine. But yeah, no, I think it's basically already done. It was done weeks ago, apparently.
Oh, he'll be good. It'll be
Will
great.
West Coast supporters boo him?
No, they'll love him.
It's going to be really awkward.
It is. It's going to be a little bit of a bit of a period of getting used to each other and him kind of forgiving us for making fun of his boyfriend.
What about the rumours that Goddard's leaving Essendon?
Yeah, that's interesting. Goddard's cracked the sads. What a surprise.
Where's he going?
Yeah, where?
Back to
Either
St
St
Kilda,
Kilda or
potentially.
North.
Oh, now there's a film in that.
Oh.
Oh, well, okay, welcome Jack Billings to Essendon. Okay, excellent.
Well, you keep Goddard. We don't need angry wranglers in the club.
So what? He's 3 years into a 4-year deal at Essendon, right? Is that?
Yeah, still contracted as far as I know. And that literally is the very first I've heard of that rumour.
He was apparently seen at the North facilities last week.
Yeah, but he was having a coffee with Alessandro.
Yeah, I was going to say,
He fits North's profile.
Do you think
just wait for every single AFL player to be spotted having coffee with someone over the next fortnight or so. Or looking to buy houses or whatever the fuck.
No, I actually think social media is going to be important because they will reveal shit over social media. I mean,
maybe.
European soccer players, NBA players, they do it all the fucking time. They accidentally drop something.
Yeah, but like 80% of the stuff's bullshit.
No, you use the wives and girlfriends because they have no bullshit.
Oh, like Cranberry's sister.
Like
Is
Deledio.
that like when
Deledio
people
Instagram
start
picture.
following a particular club on Twitter? I know that's a big one in like the soccer for working out transfer rumours.
Yeah.
Well, there was all these Dangerfield messages about Chris Newman over the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, that was.
And Deledio posted an Instagram picture of a whole bunch of Harleys outside a motorcycle dealership.
Is that what that was about? Because I heard something about Deledio indicating that Harley Benner was coming to Richmond. Oh, I thought it was something more
Oh, he
explicit.
said when
That's
he was
pretty
on
fucking explicit.
when he was on the All Australian chat with Robbo and Jared, said he hoped they'd get him or something like that. What about O'Meara? Have you spoken about him?
We mentioned him and his dodgy knees last night.
He's not going to be back till at least 2017.
He might never be.
Yeah.
Is it that
Not
bad?
the same.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently would have been better off doing an ACL.
Well, I mean, a player of his caliber,
That's-
if he was fine, I'd love him to have him at North. If he's
everyone.
got-
And you take the punt.
Everyone would take it. Once again, it's all value and who wants to pay how much.
Where's he
and-
from?
Yeah.
From
West
Perth, from South
Country,
Perth,
yeah.
isn't he? Yeah, down.
Country, some area.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something else that is interesting about this one's coaching appointments, but Worsfold to Essendon remains murky, and Haduken wasn't sold on that last week.
Well,
What are
Yeah,
you hearing
the,
anything
the,
different?
The winds are shifting a little bit on that one. And I hear McKenna's name thrown around a lot as well. Like,
By McKenna?
no, as like an assistant, senior assistant to...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If Worsfold goes, he'll take McKenna, I reckon.
Yeah, but nobody's got any real info, but the chat has definitely gone way up on Worsfold.
And McCartney's...
I haven't heard
chat
much
on
of it.
him.
No, I don't think McCartney will, because he burnt a lot of bridges on his way
Couldn't
out. He went to
possibly get McCartney.
Yeah.
They've already got Neiled.
who actually, according to all reports, is doing really well as a development coach.
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think
want-
that's That's his spot.
Yeah, you wouldn't want him anywhere near head coach. Development, he's doing all right.
And the other big thing, and this might have something to do with Worsfold, but time might be up for Dodoro.
Yeah, again, this apparently comes from the Bulldogs book on Big Footy. But
Not
there
Bomber Blitz.
are people on Bomber Blitz saying there's this dude over on the Bulldogs board who seems to know his shit, and it's like, no, he doesn't.
I think Ant mentioned that guy is pretty reliable.
This guy's usually on the
Oh,
money.
yeah, that's a couple of people go, yeah, this guy knows his stuff. But yeah, about Essendon. No, he doesn't.
Is it Charcoal Chicken that's doing it? Is he making the predictions over there?
I was going to say, it could be King Bond. He's usually pretty reliable.
No,
Just start a
it's
counter
Ant
rumor that
but-
Essendon's going to get Dalrymple, and that'll put them in their place.
We
He's
don't even
done.
have a new coach, and we're apparently getting rid of our recruitment officer, according to a guy on the Bulldogs board.
Well, just saying, the coach could be all but signed, but not announced.
But he might save his job if he brings you Jack Billings.
Well, if
back.
he can get his
No.
Billings in 5, I'll be happy with that. But
Billings is not going.
But if Essendon do want to get rid of Dodoro, what will Dodoro ask for or demand in return?
St Kilda, the whole
No,
club.
as like the payout, surely he'll demand some compensation.
It'll be Billings. He'll ask for Billings to go to Essendon.
Like all the failed list managers of the past, he'll get a media
Actually,
job.
I'd
like
argue that Dodoro's done an
Terry-
amazing job considering the picks we've had. Like Zach Merritt at 22 or whatever has been a freaking godsend.
But you drafted Elliot
Kavanagh
Kavanagh.
picked it,
Yeah,
Nick
one.
O'Brien.
He's
Jake
a-
Malcolm.
Nick O'Brien's doing all right.
Take Melksham, yeah, with a top 10 pick.
We're about to get pick 8 from Melbourne for him, so that'll do.
For Melksham.
Yeah.
That's more Melbourne incompetence
Surely
than
not.
masterful recruiting,
Yeah.
though.
Oh,
You won't
well.
get better than their second rounder.
You polished that turd pretty good.
Oh, just on the coaching thing, I noticed Freo lost two like senior assistant coaches immediately after their
Unique
loss.
individual Brett Kirk.
Kirky's
and
back to Sydney and someone's off to Geelong as well. So
Lloyd, isn't it? The one who was rumoured to be the Carlton.
yes,
Nice.
Simon Lloyd. So
Yeah,
that's the one.
Brad
that's-
Lloyd's and Matthew Lloyd's brother. So.
Yeah, and looks like they're deserting the sinking ship by the looks of it.
Fuck, that's not good for Ross. Usually he's the one who jumps first.
The anchor
And
is sinking to the bottom of the ocean.
I think they've announced the coaches award as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Have they? Who won it? Was it
Beveridge.
Beveridge, I
Beveridge
think.
or
Yeah,
Simpson?
Beveridge got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on him. It's good.
Let's drink to that.
Let's have some bathwater. Anything on John Patton?
Well, it sounds like it was just the wrong place, wrong time thing.
It sounds like the stereotypical American fucking hero coming in thinking, I'm going to beat up on this big guy. He's Australian. He looks tough. I'll get
Was he
him
with
street
Bug
cred."
or Green? Who was he with?
Bug, I believe.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if he was with Green, it wouldn't have been surprised.
Toad Green would
It's
have
the sort of thing where,
Yeah.
like, Campbell Brown, where are you when we need you?
Well, Satanta's retired. I'm sure he would have kicked some bloke in the face, although that would have been just as likely to have actually been Patton that he kicked.
Let's go to the questions. Teach isn't here to give us the grades, but that's okay because there was still going to be 2 teams to grade later anyway. So we'll go to the first of the questions. And this one is from Porkdo4. Question for the Flogcast. If you are dateless for the Brownlow, do take either A, an escort/hooker, B, your mother, C, teammate, D, fly solo, or you can E, improvise.
Porked, I'd like to thank you for your question, but I've never been dateless in my entire life, so I just don't know how to respond. I'm sorry.
It's a tough question, that. I mean,
I'd take my mum.
It depends on what he means by improvise.
yeah.
Well, improvise means you can improvise your answer.
Oh.
No, E was me saying improvise, give an answer.
So I
other
can
than
take
the-
someone who's dressed as Barney the dinosaur.
Well, yes, if you're into that.
And I'm doing that.
I would take someone dressed as Rainbow Dash.
Is Bosk free that night, or what?
Dora the
Surely you'd ring a modelling agency and say, who wants to go to the Brownlow?
Yeah,
They would all
that's
jump
a
at
clever
that
one.
opportunity.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that one. Well done.
Get on Elite Singles or whatever it's called.
I reckon I'd draw some lips and some eyes on my hand, like the
South Park.
like the Hannah for Hopers on South Park. Yeah.
At least you're guaranteed to score.
Oh, didn't
Put a little dress on it,
You might end up with Ben Affleck in your bed.
Yeah, true.
But the other thing, and it's unfortunate Teach isn't here because he probably could have got them his new Skype friends to go with him, Peachy Mistress or whatever.
yes, Peachy.
Maybe that's why he clicked on yes, and they.
he accepted the contact request. He was bored last night when he was recording with us early, and then all of a sudden he's gone, you know what, I'll accept this contact request, and bam, he ditched us.
Got pulled into a private chat or something. Yeah.
Private video chat.
Little hint of fucking jealousy in Penal's voice.
Heartbroken.
I thought she loved me.
And finally, the other question from Red Mist is how long will it take to put Brian Lake off his game and make him lose his shit last game, and almost probably so suspension won't matter. So yeah, how long will it take for Brian to...
It'll take him 5 minutes. He will go full Zidane Zidane. He will
Just
headbutt
give him
a
shit about
motherfucker.
his
No,
friendship with Adam Coombs.
No. It shouldn't be. He shouldn't be too bad because West Coast don't actually have that many punchable heads. I mean, if it was Freo in the grand final,
Maston?
he would be
Jack Darling.
he would be
Shuey.
going out swinging. But the closest are probably Wellingham, I'd say.
You
Yeah,
tell me
Wellingham
you
or
wouldn't
Maston
want to
are pretty
punch Luke
punchable.
Shuey in the face.
Well, he fucking takes enough knocks to the head by ducking. He doesn't deserve it.
You wouldn't hit him in the head, you'd fly over his head because he'd duck.
Given that
Yeah,
Brian
who hits
Lake
it?
has the intelligence of a box of sultanas, yeah, he's going to go
Where is this myth coming from? Like, Brian is actually legitimately one of the smartest footballers in
Have you
AFL
ever seen
circles right now.
Brian's bargains?
And so's Bill Minson, but
I know this
Will
is not
Minson
saying
acts
much,
like a
but
fucking idiot.
Brian Lake is like literally the gold standard of AFL intelligence.
So's Vickery.
and that's true as well. See, we've got a bunch of supposedly smart guys who are fucking idiots on the field, which fits Brian to a T.
Do you reckon he'll take Poppy's head off?
He might try and choke someone.
Bigger question is, who does he play on? Does he take Kennedy? And if he doesn't, who's his matchup?
He's too slow to take Kennedy. Kennedy
Well,
will burn
then-
him on the lead.
then who does he play on?
Crawley
He
on
gets,
Kennedy is the matchup.
The
surely.
ruckman,
Sinclair.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's time for,
just zone off him.
kick a bag on Ryan Schoen.
Or maybe they'll just whack him up forward because Clarkson will do something stupid.
Yeah, no, I think on halftime, Brian set to ignite things on halftime, just like 1990.
As I said, he will go full Zidane. He will headbutt
It's-
someone.
We're going back in the past. It's a 1991 rematch, but the halftime is going to be like 1990. Brian's going to start a fight.
That was quarter time.
I kind of
Is that
hope he
quarter time?
does, but I don't think he will. It'd be awesome if he does, but I can't see it happening.
Hodge will come in and try and whack someone into the behind post.
Oh, there's
What
no
was-
doubt Hodge and Mitchell will have knees and Lewis,
Just the worst sniping you can imagine.
What a dirty
Um,
bunch of cunts you Hawthorn players are.
aren't they? They're filthy.
Fair dinkum.
And they're snitches too. There's nothing to like about them, really.
Except for Cyril.
Is this Richmond thing coming through again?
No, I do love Cyril Rowley.
Well, I love Cocoa Pops.
See, I'd say I love rice bubbles, but I don't want to be accused of being racist. Sorry.
Who likes rice bubbles?
What's wrong with it?
Me?
I like rice bubbles.
I like Fruit Loops.
There you go.
are a
That's
fruit loop.
very inclusive. Rainbow answer.
Hey, Fruit Loops are actually pretty good.
48%.
48% sugar.
Isn't rice bubbles just a bit too bland?
No,
You have a bit of sugar, cut in some fruit in them, you're sweet.
yeah, chuck some peaches in. It's great.
Bananas.
You put peaches in your cereal.
In rice bubbles, yeah, man, it's delicious.
Just put custard on top.
What a goo answer.
Let's move on to this week on the Bay. Thread of the week. Who wants to nominate anything?
Oh, there was one that I thought was really good, but I can't find it at the moment, which isn't helping.
Was it the Freo supporter interaction, Fred?
Polite player crowd interactions.
That was pretty good. Yes.
That was a thread.
It didn't really take off like I thought it would.
No, it didn't. I don't think Flogs jumped
probably-
on. Probably needs a bump.
It probably just got lost in the whole North thing on Saturday and
And all
then
the
the
Freo butt
Brownlow.
hurt afterwards too.
Yeah.
I will nominate, and it is Matt Priddis week, and I will nominate the Matt Priddis
Yeah,
week thread from
that
Craffles,
was-
which is just ridiculous, but it's amusing. So.
I haven't seen that one.
And here's a
Ricky
here's a
Nixon has
thread-
been up and about. He's been doing
Oh yeah, two.
Nah, Purple Puff say to Darn Spings was very good before the melts. And Pork's Fred was also very good for this week.
Porked again. He won it last week.
The Craffles one of Pritis trying to shake Pritis' hand is. It's not bad. Thanks, Matt. Congrats, Matt.
But yeah, it's been a reasonably even week.
Matt Pritis week, I'd say give it
Matt
to you.
Priddis week.
Yeah, Matt Pritis week.
Yeah, I agree.
Flog of the week. I think this one's a little bit more clear cut.
Yeah.
Reginald Perrin, he went a bit
Well,
melty.
He went.
Or I will nominate Subaru for her
Oh.
freak out.
She probably deserves it, but
If you want Melty outside the bay, have a look at the Brownlow Guru thread on the main board and have a look at Danger Sloan's posting throughout that thread. He's bitched and bitched.
We all know who Spoken For is, right? Guy with
Yeah.
the Zoolander avatar. Yeah, I want to nominate him for doing a disappearing act. He just
Fair
hasn't been seen since Thursday, strangely. Wonder what might have happened.
I can't ignore Reginald Perrin, who has been the opposite of a disappearing act. He's probably made 5 or 6 threads in the aftermath of Freo's loss, and each one of them has been typed with a bit of rage in each post.
You just imagine, like, you when you do the 2-finger typing and you hit each fucking key with such force that you're like, fuck you, Jay.
Yeah, I think he deserves it.
He's normally a reasonable poster, but
Yeah.
he's lowered his colours this week.
He's not had a good week.
Here's a thread with potential, and I say potential because it's about North, but Pork's absolutely knocked it out of the park with like the first reply by North partying instead of depressed. Go have a read of it. Pork absolutely knocks it out of the park by saying, not the first time a flog has followed a lol Norther into the bathroom and admired an appendage.
That's magnificent. Last week's poll. Who would you most like to have to play for your club? 2.8% said Cale Haduken. 5.6% said Starburns, Rioli and Jack Bale. 8.3% said Dan Stringer, Tyler Mensch and Morgan Hawkins. 11.1% said Cooksen Boyd. 16.7% said Penal Suckling. And 33.3% said Jack Watts. And before we move on, I just want to highlight the following posters. Cooksen, Morgs, and You Don't Know Jack. You don't vote for yourselves, okay?
That's poor.
I wanted
That's like Bender tagging himself in his own thread.
I
That's
want
really
structure in St Kilda, and I think a second key forward would be
You
handy.
don't vote for yourself.
Not even the package voted for
shame.
himself.
Package.
No.
Shame. Shame.
Shame. Shame. Dingling. Shame. Shame.
Let's go to the biggest game of the year, the grand final. We've got a few things lined up. If we want to just discuss the game properly, is anything anyone wants to add on the teams? We vaguely discussed the umpires and the fact that Stevic gets to umpire his beloved Hawks again.
Well, they've balanced it out by giving a Western Australian a gig.
I think the ruck position for Hawthorn will be very interesting this week.
This is like the reverse of last week, isn't it?
Segler played a pretty bad one in the
Segler
VFL Grand
won.
Final. I can't see him getting in. We'll go with McAvoy and Hale, unless Hale's cooked, basically.
So it's Clangers versus Gunston at Hawthorn. West Coast seem pretty settled, aren't they?
I don't expect us to drop Sean Makers. Like, if anyone's vulnerable, it would be Hartung. So we drop him.
You're going to drop some pace.
But he
it's
would
a
be the
risk.
sub anyway, so we would take him out and put...
Then you'd have to find a
How
sub.
disheartening would it be as a young player to be dropped and David Hale is kept in the squad? That would have to suck.
I mean, you can't get rid of Hartung. Hartung is just, he brings too much pace to the team.
But he's an impact player as a
I
sub.
think
Like,
you're overrating him a little bit. Like, I
Penal says
can't
someone else
see
is
him being the difference in that game, whereas I can see Sean Makers being the difference in the game.
Yeah, but whoever
particularly-
saw Mitch Morton being the difference in 2012?
That's true.
Sorry to bring up that incredibly painful memory.
Who for us? Richmond supporters or Penal?
No,
I
for
mean-
Sydney in 2012. Oh, yeah, probably.
Someone needs to come in for Gunston. I mean, you can't not play Gunston.
No. I think we'll play Gunston, and I think Hartung will go out.
Maybe on form, surely Rufford gets dropped.
Do
I-
it.
I think Sean Makers is too important to our structure.
Solution to solve everyone will make Penal happy. Drop Matt Suckling for Gunston.
Suckling is.
Suckling to sub, I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't want him running around there in the first quarter when the contest is up and everyone's smashing into each other. We want him working in open spaces.
Brian starts a fight and he's Suckling on the outside, pulling someone off by the jumper. Is that all of the discussion of the teams and the umpires? Do we want to do some predictions and tips?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so here's what we've got. We've got the winner of the margin, the Norm Smith, the Leon Davis medal for worst on ground, and finally another prediction just for this year for grand final week, Welch or Streak from Divvy Blues. You can also add in any other bold or random prediction you want to add from the game, like Brian starting a fight or something else will happen. So who wants to go first?
All right. I tip West Coast by 25. Norm Smith, Brutus, and, well, I've got to stick with my pre-season prediction of Suckling for the Leon Davis.
Welch or Streak?
Ooh, Welch.
And anything else you want? Anything else you think might happen? It could be entertainment. It could be the fight. It could be someone fucks up the presentation ceremony.
Angry Anderson makes a surprise guest appearance to commemorate the last time Hawthorn West Coast played each other in a grand final.
Batmobile too.
Batmobile too, with nipples.
Penal likes this.
I think it'll be hot, and Hawthorn will lead at half time, and West Coast will overrun them.
Who wants to go next?
Winner, I got Eagles by 14. Norm Smith, I'm going to go with Wellingham. And Leon Davis, going to go with Brad Hill.
Oh, good call.
And Welch, of course. And my bold or random prediction is that Bruce is going to ditch Rioli for Natanui by the end of the game.
Hawthorn by 9 points. Norm Smith will be Jordan Lewis. Leon Davis medalist will be Matt Rosa. And Welch for DVB. Random prediction. Whoever does the national anthem will bugger it up.
I'm going to go for West Coast by 5 points. Norm Smith, as much as I want Prudis to win it, it will be Jeremy McGovern. Because I reckon he'll get thrown forward and he will score goals.
Thrown forward.
Yep. The old Adam Hunter trick.
Jesus.
The Leon Davis medalist, again, I'm going Brad Hill, obvious soft target. Divi will Welch, and I think Nat Nui will probably not play as game as good as we all think. But there will be a streaker during the grand final.
Just so we're
Won't be
clear,
Divi.
the sub can't be the Leon Davis.
Not unless they came on before quarter time or
Okay.
half time. Like
Or if they
it's a
get-
degree of difficulty
Yeah.
with that.
If you start a sub, it's obviously very hard to get it. But if you get subbed out because you're so shit, then that should sort of qualify you.
Yeah, I'm referring purely as the starting sub. I mean, anyone who's subbed off I think is fair game if they've had a stink.
You can't set a real rule about it because if someone comes on at 3/4 time and makes 6 mistakes in the last quarter,
And Sheridan's himself.
yeah, and Sheridan's themselves, I think they're in the conversation and you put them in the poll, and if they get voted in, they win.
Okay.
But I'll go 6-point win to West Coast. Pritis for the Brownlow. Pritis
Not
for
this
the
year,
Norms.
sunshine.
Pritis to immortality. The Leon Davis to Josh Gibson. I think Kennedy gets a hold of him and is the difference maker apart from Pritis, who gets 40 disposals. Welch for Divi Blues, and bold prediction will be that Brian Adams gets booed.
Is it because he's Canadian, though? Because that's fair enough.
He'll get booed, and is like, are they saying boo or a boot? And
Winner West Coast by about 12. Be pretty close, I reckon, if they win. Oh, he'll totally Welch. I actually think Shuey will get the Norm Smith. Worst on ground will be... Is Liam Shields playing?
if Shields wins the Leon Davis medal, it'll be your fault, Penal, because he'll be in the poll for playing a bad game, and everyone will go, haha, Penal.
Apparent future Brownlow medalist.
How many votes did Liam Shields poll just
He
on that?
did all right. He took a lot of votes off Mitchell. He was too much of a good
I
bloke.
thought he only got like 5 for the
He got
night.
like 10 or something, or 9 or 10. Did all right.
Actually, before we go on that, can we harp on how many votes Tom Rockcliffe did not get? Well, was it 5 for the night?
Yeah, 5 he got.
Less than Sam Gray,
Yeah, when was his first set of votes?
like round 19.
Yeah, it was really late.
All right. Are you done yet, you fuckers? You fuckers?
Hang on, a bold prediction. Luke Hodge to be wearing a head bandage within the first 5 minutes.
That's not bold at all.
All right. So I've listened to all you plebs share your opinions.
Bear in mind, I'm the only one that tipped Hawthorn.
And it's time to set everyone except Dan straight.
Thank you.
You've never set anyone straight.
Penal, we consulted the weather reports. You're
No.
not going to teach things.
Yes, Starburns, Mr. Hawthorn are going to go out in straight sets because they're going to lose to Adelaide. I sure set you straight, mister.
You were the biggest fucking mope after they lost to the Eagles. You're like, oh, we're done. We're old and cooked. Oh, we're done.
West Coast are the favourites. Oh, no.
Just replace Penal's prediction with that stuff.
That's what we should do.
Okay, here we go. Hawthorn will win. I think it will be about 39 points will be the final margin. It'll be close for 3/4 and then we'll kick away in the last quarter, a bit like we did against Fremantle with the margin kind of blowing out a bit at the end. Norm Smith, I can't go past Liam Shields, obviously.
We've had
He
5 Brownlow votes for those wondering.
Yeah, that's what I thought, 5.
He will have another superb
14 tackles.
17 tackle performance against the Eagles like he did earlier in the year. And tackles might not get you Brownlow votes, but it does get you Norm Smith votes. Like Ryan O'Keefe showed a couple of years ago. I think he had 17 that day as well.
He also had 30-something disposals.
Yeah, but Shields can rack him up and use the ball well. He's got better disposal than Fife. So that's not hard.
With or
Leon,
without the broken leg.
Leon Davis, I'm going to go Mark Lacroix just because it does seem to be a small forward thing
It is
every
a small
year.
forwards award.
So that's probably a safe bet.
So Suriol is a safe bet as well.
Yeah, but he's going to
Surioli's a safe bet because he's Surioli.
he's
If
going
they
to
lose
kick
him,
5,
poll.
and we're going to win. So Cyril won't be in the poll.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Nat Nui.
No. We'll get to Natanui. I'm going to continue my trend of bucking the trend. I'm going to say the Village Idiot is actually going to do it just because I think he'll be that desperate to save face and try and one-up everyone. Like, we know that the damage has been done. He'll never be able to redeem himself because he's looked like a complete
This is more out of
fool.
hope, isn't it? Because you're going to
the past month. But I think he's actually that desperate to try and have some relevance and people liking him again, or for the first time, that he will actually do it out of desperation.
Is it actually televised or anything?
Yeah, it is televised. Fox Footy do televise it.
But let's just say there will be a lot of Hawthorn supporters at the parade, obviously. I'm sure there'll be some
new
interest.
friends.
What do I still have to do?
Bold prediction. You're going to come to Natanui.
Yeah, so big boy McAvoy to take a screamer on Natanui's head.
But McAvoy can't jump, though.
Can't jump. Pete.
What's he going to do? Get lifted up by a crane?
Brian will lift him
Like
up.
a rope lift for a line.
It'll be like that fucking Toyota ad with Jezza where they pick him up on the fuck crane.
Brian's going to do that. He's going to, in his last game, pick McAvoy up.
He's called Big Boy McAvoy, not small, easily accessible boy to lift up.
Brian, have you seen the fucking rig that man's got? I mean, I have, and it's impressive. Like, he could lift a fucking... You're talking about Toyotas earlier. He could lift a fucking Toyota with his bare hands.
Are you talking like ballet plie style, just up over the head, or what?
Just fucking stack 3 cars on top of him and just, get down on the knees and just pick him up.
So yeah, since it's grand final week, we get everyone to come on here with cameo appearances and offer their predictions as well. So also joining us briefly, we have Morgs.
Hello.
You don't know Jack.
G'day.
NetworkNerd.
Hey, everyone.
Paddles.
Hey.
And Teach.
Honk honk.
So is there anything else anyone wants to add on about Saturday's game? Anything to say or?
It's going to be a good weekend, and it's going to be a good grand final.
Yeah? Who do you hope wins, Teach?
Well, for all of my Hawthorn friends, they're going to be fucking insufferable, but yeah, I'm going to go for the Hawks.
You're going to go for the Hawks? You're going to hope they do it for Penal?
Yeah, definitely for my my good man Penal and guys like Les Norton and NetworkNerd. So all for them. So go the Hawks.
Have you anything to add, NetworkNerd? You going to the game?
Nah, it's usual thing. I think
Oh,
the last.
yes, of course it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What's
So
your missus going to be up to, Network?
yes. So I've been on the grand final preview the last 2 years, and each year it's always a grand final at my place. My wife always goes for the opposite team. So this year she's going to be.
The fucking bitch.
She's going to be draping the house in blue and yellow streamers. She's going for West Coast. All her family's coming over. They're all going to go for West Coast. So, oh well. But
You put up with that shit, man. You got to divorce that bitch.
no.
She's Carlton, isn't she?
She's Carlton herself. Yep.
That's so Carlton, isn't it?
Yeah. So all I say is that you're just jealous that your team's a pile of shit. Our team's going for 3 in a row, and her family's all Carlton too. So they're all just jealous. So.
Last time Carlton went for a three-peat of anything, it was a three-peat of spoons, so...
Oh, and they missed out on the priority pick.
They did. They got denied.
Suck shit.
But I'll definitely have to go with the Hawks by, I think, 17 points. Norm Smith, I'll go Mitchell. Leon Davis, I'll go with shit down the throat, Jack Darling. And Divi Blues won't do it. He won't. No.
Anything else you want to add, like any other random predictions or bold predictions, something that's unanticipated?
Well, unfortunately, Clangers will be dropped, it looks like. So I guess I would say...
Oh, no, not stupid, sexy clangers.
So I'm guessing that he'll go to Carlton in the preseason draft.
Ooh, big call. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. So, yeah, I'm going for West Coast, I reckon, by 15 points. Kennedy for the Norm Smith, Frawley for the Leon Davis. No, I'm not bitter. And I reckon, Divi Blues will pussy out.
Any other random or bold predictions?
I think Jack Watts will win the grand final sprint.
Oh, you fucking
Stole my bold prediction. Is he in it, Jack? Is he confirmed?
Don't know. I don't even know who's in it.
All right, I'm going to go for West Coast in an upset by 8 points. Burgoyne to win the Norm Smith in a losing team. That's sort of bold and a Norm Smith prediction. I think Shuey will win the Leon Davis.
In a winning team?
Yeah, just he's not going to be there. And Darcy Moore will win the grand final sprint.
What about Divi Blues?
Divi Blues will not show up, will waste my time, and I'll kick his head in.
Who wants to go next?
Me. So grand final, I reckon Hawthorn will win by about 70 points.
Ooh,
I think it'll be a one-side grand final.
Okay, David King.
Yeah.
Norm Smith, I reckon, will be 2012 Brownlow medalist Sam Mitchell. Leon Davis will probably go to James Frawley because he's a spud. And of course, Divi Blue's going to welch.
So you got any bold ones, Paddles?
Not really. I think you were saying something about the Power Rangers jumper, but
Instead of shooting confetti out, they're going to shoot Power Rangers jumpers out after Hawthorn wins. They're just as sparkly.
I reckon they'll shoot out goo.
Goo cannon.
What's new? Goo goo gachoo.
All right, so going to go with Hawthorn by 25 points. Sam Mitchell to be the Norm Smith medalist, and McLovin from the West Coast to be the Leon Davis medalist, and the upset to be the fact that the Hawks do wear the Go-Go Power Rangers jumper.
What's your streak for Divi Blues? Did you pick that, Teach?
No, I didn't actually comment on that at all.
Well, do you want to give a you know what we're talking about, yeah?
Yeah. He's going to show his ass.
Yes.
He's not going to do it. He's not going to front and show his ass.
He's not going to front.
He'd get fucking arrested anyway, so he's too scared to do it.
He's not going to even leave the basement. Like, let's be serious here.
No. We won't see him. He won't be mentioned. And, he's going to come down as one of the greatest Welchers of all time on Bay 13.
I'd like to change my prediction. The grand final sprint will be won by Brad Ebert. And he will get 3 votes for it. He's literally the best player in the grand final sprint.
Is he?
But then again, he's better than Cyril, so...
Who else?
Jordan Murdoch's going to win it.
Who else is in the sprint?
Well, he's not going to win it, Teach, because he's not in it.
Who did Geelong put up, considering they've got a world-class field of sprinters?
I'm trying to look, and I don't see a name that I recognise. Teach, tell me if any of these players play for your club. Dean Towers? No.
Darcy Lang plays for Geelong.
Oh, Darcy Lang, the second best.
Darcy Lang, if we've got Darcy Lang in there, he's fucking slow as treacle.
He's not even the best Darcy in his heat.
Oh, jeez. Why would they have Jordan Murdoch in there?
I would like to see Magic Door chase Caleb Daniel across the MCG. Oh, if Magic Door and Caleb Daniel are in the same heat next to each other, I will piss myself laughing. Who are these people? Who is Paddy Brophy? Who is Parminder Singh? And who is Gurdev Singh? Like, are these
taxi
people?
Drivers.
I don't know if they are footballers or if they are cricketers that got left here.
No. They're fair income taxi drivers.
Is this like one of the NAB challenge thing? Like
Footify Australia or something?
Are we footifying the brand final sprint?
One for
so they actually put a few fair income. Well, I fucking hope Michael Hurley's not running. And thanks to our flogs who've joined us for the cameo and their predictions. Teach, Morgs and Paddles, Network Nerd, and You Don't Know Jack.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Cheers.
All right, I think that's everything, unless anyone wants to add anything more before we finish up.
Oh, I just read that Melbourne is prepared to accept pick 20 odd for Jack Watts. That's like saying I'm prepared to accept a Ferrari for my Lancer.
Who would pick up Jack Watts?
Not for pick 20, no one will.
No, North offered a second rounder.
Apparently. We don't know if that's true. But...
In a compromised draft year for Watts, and Neil wanted to do it, and Melbourne said no, and they should have taken that deal.
Yes, they should have.
Jack Watts is one of those ones, if Melbourne offer him for something that's not ridiculous, like pick 20, someone will think they can reform him. It happened with Richard Tambling, it happened with Cale Morton.
The talk of him possibly being delisted before Melbourne made its list choices is not going to help his...
No.
I have heard the actual odd Essendon person saying, I'd take Jack Watts. It's like,
no, he's not a fit for you though, not currently.
Well, he's probably better than Ambrose.
Yeah, but you're at the stage of setting a culture because you're in a kind of a rebuild.
Ambrose at least has a crack.
Yeah, doesn't
yeah,
Ambrose
exactly. Ambrose has heart. You got to be rewarding.
Yeah.
Watts is the kind of player that you put in a team that's already got a hard edge, and if he either sinks or he swims, and if he sinks, hope that you didn't give up pick 24.
So
I reckon you float around like on like some little floral kind of inflatable.
Seeing as someone...
Richmond?
No, I wouldn't have him at Richmond because I don't think he can be turned into a footballer. But someone will think they can. Everyone thinks
he's
they
one
can.
of those guys that probably dominates during training during the week and looks really flashy during the warm-ups. But when it comes to game day, he's a deer in the headlights.
He dropped himself.
Yeah. He's not mentally a footballer. He's got
every
physical skill. He's fucking got wonderful kicking and all that.
That's the only thing that's good for him. He's got a decent decent kick, but everything else is.
Oh, he's got decent skills. He's got a decent tang.
He's got good pace.
Intercept marker.
He's a good athlete.
Intercept
Yeah.
marker as well.
He's just got no intensity, and the work rate's questionable.
Yeah.
And mentally, it's
I mean,
it's all mental.
if you had a really tough, hard side with a strong back line, you could potentially put him on the half-back flank as a
You can make him Matt
designated
Suckling.
kicker. Yeah, Suckling. Yeah.
How does one D-Melbourne Jack Watts? I say
Pretty
it's
tough.
impossible.
Well, someone will try, and they'll probably fail. But if they succeed, well, congratulations. You're coach of the year next year, whoever it is. Just don't give up pick 20, or you're the worst recruiter going. Geelong will do it.
They have prior form.
I do.
21, you say? Yeah.
And this was the Flogcast for the grand final. Starburns joined by Haduken,
Good night.
Cooksen,
Jack Billings' watch, still a saint.
Dan,
There.
Richo at the disco,
Harley Penal, 80% to Richmond. Source, TGO.
Bender.
Well, fuck yeah, West Coast. Fucking Hawthorn suck cock. That's about
Yeah,
all I
go
got.
the Eagles.
Yeah, go West Coast. And Penal.
Can't the Hawks.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week when we have a winner.